I'll be honest with you. I think the thing that most of us are really frustrated with the world right now is the idea of I saw something with my own eyes, I heard something with my own ears. I know it's not AI, and yet you're gaslighting me that there's a problem. And I think we've all come to terms and agree that there were genuine issues with a lot of the installments out of the MCU for the last few years.
What would MCU head Kevin Feige do if he could go back in time and change things within the MCU? Well, he talked about just that. He also talks about the MCU in general. Where's it going? Eternals, too. Are we ever going to see it? What's happening with Blade? Updates there. We also have Deadpool and Wolverine right around the corner. It literally is out now. You guys can see the movie. Well, we're going to do some non-spoiler thoughts on the film, and we are going to talk about how it could potentially change the MCU. Again, non-spoiler. So, get ready for it. It's Capes and Cowls, everybody. Myself, Winston, and Coy. Let's do it. Here we go. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Big Thing, Capes and Cowls. It's myself, Kristian Harloff, with Coy Jandro, Winston A. Marshall.
Mr. Fantastic!
Yeah. You got, look at that. See, sometimes I can't tell. Right beforehand, I was like, okay, we're going to be okay, we're going to be good, and now we're fuzzy again. So perfect. And whatever. It is what it is. Let's start with this particular thing here, guys. As we've all seen, we're going to do a full-on spoiler review for Deadpool and Wolverine on Monday. It'll be on the channel. We haven't done one for Marvel because this is the first Marvel release for the entire year. And so I think if I'm going to rank it, I'm going to say that I know that you both loved it. I think that Coy's probably on it's a perfect movie train. Winston's like, it's great, super great, and I'm like, it's pretty good. I would assume that's accurate all the way around, right?
I think Coy and I actually have it, if we're ranking it amongst the Deadpool movies, in the same spot. I think for me it goes 1, 3, 2.
Yeah, it's 1, 3, 2 for me.
Yeah,
Deadpool
sure.
1 is in my top 5 superhero movies. This one's in like the top 15, but Deadpool 1's hard to beat for me.
Yeah.
Because I think in the same breath of like some of the other films that lean on, decades of build up, this is kind of a goodbye, cameo stuff, all that gives it a little extra bump. That it doesn't take away from it being a movie. I think every single cameo in this movie is earned and done properly. But there was something just very fresh and original about that OG Deadpool.
Sure.
Not that you don't see that here, but that just had a very special place. It's kind of hard to beat it. One way or the other.
Like an artist's opening album. They spent 11 years making it, and then their sophomore album's like, I'm gonna figure it out, and then their third album's like, we figured it back out. Like, that's what it feels like. It feels like a punk band rediscovering what made them punk.
Dude, everybody keeps saying that the Eminem show was the best thing, but for me, the original Slim Shady LP, the very first
really,
one,
I'm a Marshall Mathers LP guy,
which I totally understand. But that's how I feel about this too. I'm like, yo, Eminem show, Deadpool 3, fire. But like, I love the OG.
For me, I'm gonna go Kendrick with Damn. I think is it comes out the gate with, you can tell he put that together for years. And then for me, Good Kid, Mad City was, how do I change the sound but also still be true to myself? And I love that album, but that kind of felt like Deadpool 2. And this feels like the heartfelt Mr. Morale.
Well, that's weird for you to say that, because it goes Section 80, Good Kid, Mad City, To Pimp a Butterfly, and then Damn. Damn was the 4th album.
Yeah, you're right. I was saying energetically. You're right. Like, if for time it's a chronology, you're right. But I meant like energy of the album, because to me, Damn feels like the most of like who he is. But
see, that's why I feel like Good Kid, Mad City is. There's a whole other tangent. The point is,
Kristian just cuts to us.
I didn't even realize we were taping. So when this movie though, I think it's definitely, and this is a conversation we had on Big Thing yesterday, is I'm wondering if you guys think is it the best since Endgame, the best MCU movie? I'd put the conversation with No Way Home. I'd say that it probably edges it out maybe just a little bit. I don't know, or maybe I do think this is my biggest criticism with the movie is that it's like, I thought that the movie landed with the majority of its jokes. I think the jokes were definitely Fast and Furious, and I think that it is very inside baseball, and the fact that I know all the jokes, it landed to me. But I think that as an outside person. There's a ton of things that are going to go way over people's heads. Dude,
I think there's enough jokes like a mile a minute that the ones that go over people's heads, there's another joke for them right after. I don't
agree.
disagree with what you're saying.
Oh, I agree with you. I also agree with that. What you just said. I'm just saying that sometimes I was like, oh, the heart, it's right there. Oh, they went with a right hand joke when they could have just stuck with the heart. And I think that No Way Home has a little bit more heart. This movie has heart. It absolutely does. And I think that both Hugh Jackman, he as Winston said, he is the glue of this. For sure, because it's what he is able to do, and he actually has that core thing that Ryan Reynolds is almost forced sometimes to say, "Oh, hey, this is a movie, also, just to let you know," and it works. But I think sometimes it's a little it throws off the course of I'm so invested in this. Oh, it's a joke. Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm watching a movie. They want you to do that, but sometimes I thought it was a little bit of a detriment.
Yeah, I can understand that. I think now that this is the third iteration we're getting of a proper Deadpool out of Ryan Reynolds, I'm used to him going joke, 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 and then 5% is let me be serious right now, because like that was, him with the whole cancer moment in the first one, and in the second one, like losing Vanessa, obviously, and stuff like that. That's what I was kind of used to, that nothing is serious for Deadpool until it's serious.
Right.
And so I think by having Hugh be kind of the anchor where his jokes are more based in his rage than anything else. And so then he really does become the anchor. I know both of you aren't really with Thor Love and Thunder anymore, and I'm not, or never were, and I'm not really on it anymore either. But the moments that seemed to try and keep it together for a minute were when we got to cut away to Natalie with the cancer. And so I think Hugh having to sit with the things he's done, that this iteration, the things that he's done is the stuff that brings us in, and it's also what ties him to Deadpool, because then in the final sequence, obviously I won't talk about it, but that's the same thing. That's what's tying them together. And I think that is where the heart lives, is to, like, any good Kristian, you would know better than both of us, like any good stand-up, it is joke, 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 joke. And then there's a moment where like you stop and you might tell a story and people are really invested and they're not really laughing. They're listening to you. And then finally, last joke, and you're like, damn, that was killer.
I will say that the majority of that's exactly what this movie does. It's just a couple of times it was in the same way that I felt sometimes about Guardians movies, where I'm like, oh, it was really funny and it really worked. That joke really worked. But did they sacrifice a nice moment in general there to build story? And I felt, but it wasn't to where it was like, oh my God, this movie could have been so much more. I still gave it like an 8.2 out of 10. It's like, so, and I thought the villains were a little weak, and we'll talk this more on spoiler. I think that the villains were a little weak. I think that both, well, again, we'll wait for spoilers to get into it, but I really enjoyed the movie, and I thought that the chemistry between these two guys was so good. There was a lot of great laughs. There was a lot of good moments overall. It was a love letter to the Fox universe for sure. But it's also going to make a lot of money. This movie is already, we talked about this briefly yesterday on the show, but it's set to open to a massive $360 million at the worldwide box office this weekend. But could the latest MCU movie exceed expectations? And so this is from Comic Book Movie. Deadpool and Wolverine arrives in the theaters across the globe this weekend, and according to Deadline, it's currently eyeing a 160 to 170 debut in North America alone, which would be the biggest R-rated opening ever. The last Marvel Studios to be released on big screen was The Marvels, and that debuted with a thudding $46.1 million in the U.S. and $110 worldwide. Oof. The trade adds that Deadpool and Wolverine is eyeing 180 to 190 internationally, meaning the threequel predicted globally bow currently stands at 340 to 360. That's an epic start, and we wouldn't be shocked to see the movie exceed that. So there was a prediction of 200 million opening weekend a few weeks ago, and the trades believe that that's still possible if Deadpool and Wolverine overperforms. The R-rated will be a factor, as some parents will be reluctant to take their kids. Even if Deadpool and Wolverine opens to the lower end of the 340 worldwide, it will still be ahead of Deadpool at 264, Deadpool 2 at 263, and DC's Joker 243. Needless to say, numbers like this bound to get fans speculating about a possible Deadpool 4 appearing on The Tonight Show. So Jimmy Fallon asked, Ryan Reynolds downplayed it. He said, "Oh God, no," the actor said when asked about a fourth installment. "My wife and children will divorce me. Jimmy, I have no prenup with any of them. I will be capital B broke, and in turn, probably then doing Deadpool 4 because I need the money. Asked if Taylor Swift will play Dazzler, Reynolds responded with, I wish, suggesting she could instead pick up where he leaves off. If I ever stop, she'd make a good Deadpool, he joked. Let's start with this quick. Let's talk about the box office first. This is a movie that is easily going to make $1 billion. Roke already knows he owes me a steak. This is going to be, I think it is going to exceed expectations. I think Twister's already proved that is going to happen for summer movies. That movie made $80 million in its opening weekend. People thought it was going to make 60 or whatever it would. This movie's going to make $200 million opening weekend, and it'll be $1 billion within 3 weeks, tops. What do you think?
Opening worldwide at $1/3 billion for an R-rated movie is insane. And without spoiling a single thing, I will comfortably say this is one of the most rewatchable movies I can think of. I have been we saw it 12 hours, not long ago, and I am fiending. I have Comic-Con for 5 days. I'm there Wednesday to Sunday. The amount of willpower it will be to not get in a car and drive 40 minutes to the nearest theater, because there's nothing in the gas lamp. There's no theater there. If there was, I would be antisocial. If there was a theater still in the gas lamp, I'd be like, sorry, I know there's a party, I should not work. No, I'm seeing Deadpool and Wolverine. It's that good. So I think the $1/3 billion, comfortable. I think within 2 weeks, maybe edging towards 2.5, $1 billion. And I think this is going to be the biggest R-rated movie of all time.
All right, Winston, so what do you think overall with your thoughts on box office? How does it do?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we all agree it's going to easily clear $1 billion. I think it will be rough to catch, say, a No Way Home or a Top Gun because of it being an R, and a hard R as far as the violence and the profanity. But I think it can pass Barbie. I think that you can hit a 1.4, maybe even a 1.5 because of how much rewatchability there is with all sorts of Easter eggs and jokes that maybe you didn't hear because it was joke after joke. So people are already laughing at the first one that they didn't hear the second one. I feel like that happened once or twice.
I missed some stuff.
I
was laughing real hard.
There was one that I was laughing at that everybody else, why is he laughing?
Dude, our audience, man, I hate press screenings. I hate them so much. I felt the quills. I felt these pretentious little I was ecstatic, and I felt the tension of our joy. I felt how much we were in the movie and how much most of the audience was fine, but not happy. And we were ecstatic. I definitely got self-conscious.
You must have been sitting next to Bibiani.
Well,
I felt his presence. Worry not.
Bibbs was there.
Yeah, he hated it.
Snyder was there.
They both hated it. They both.
I felt pockets of silence, when you look at a beautiful piece of art and you see where it's deteriorating. I felt the pockets of the theater that weren't in were so palpable, and I had such exuberance that I started to get self-conscious, and then I was like, no, this is for me. They can deal.
And I'll be honest with you, if you want to go that route, if you just want to go, let's fully break it down for whatever, sure, there are significantly better written, paced out movies as far as that stuff goes, but you need to remember what this is.
Joy.
And it literally, it is an unabashed just chaos, because that's what the character is. And when you throw in the fact that this movie takes so much time to take swings at the MCU about what they're doing wrong at the same time, and making fun of that, and then trying to fix it, but also just making fun of it, it's meant to be chaos. And so I think anybody that's no, I'll rather move, they're not going to like this.
Yeah, and those people absolutely have their place. The critics are a job. That's an important job. I just struggle at the setting of seeing something that is this type of movie in that setting. That's one of the main reasons I like premieres isn't because of just the it's fancy. It's because everyone there is there to celebrate. And I wish there was I wish there were 2 press screenings, one for people that are in the press and one for people that love doing press. And I had a lot of joy, but I can't wait to see this with the public. I cannot wait to see this with fans versus critics.
It's funny, and I don't know if it's a New York thing or whatever it was, but the audience I saw with, it was pretty much critics. Everybody was having a blast. Everyone was having a lot of fun. It didn't seem uptight. I don't know if it's just an LA thing, a New York thing. I have no
There was
idea.
some just if 20% of the people are huffy, I feel it, and maybe that's just because
I'm with. I've been in those rooms.
You've been to
I
LA
understand.
press
I
screenings.
understand for sure. I just saw I saw a lot more positivity and kind of laughing and goofing around with it because it's like I will disagree. I was even talking to Roxy about it yesterday. She said it's a perfect movie. In my opinion, it's not a perfect movie. It's not a perfect movie, but that's her opinion. But I think there was a lot of things as I mentioned. There's tons of times I was just like, oh, I get it. You're funny, and I get that this is peek behind the curtain, but let's focus on the story here. And then there's other times I'm like, I'm so glad that he did that, and he did that in general because this is what everybody thought it was going to be. And he said, no, it's not that. It's this. How do you like that? I actually do love this universe. I do like that type of thing.
Yeah.
That to me was something like that was those things were nice to see. So anyway, yeah, the movie's going to make a ton of money. Now, as far as moving along to the fact that the Deadpool 4 side of it, he's like, oh, God, no. I think that, well, you've heard Blake Lively's talked about it in interviews. I think it's probably true. He's probably half kidding that she's probably like, okay, enough is enough after this. But I still think he's going to be back in the MCU because there's something in particular that happens in this movie that we'll talk about in the spoilers that I have a theory about that I think kind of guarantees that he's going to be in some of these movies. He's going to, whether it's Avengers or these other things, he's going to pop up again for sure. And I think it's probably something he wants to do because he doesn't have to carry everything on his shoulders.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you. There are some folks that genuinely like, no, I have enough money. I'm good. If we're correct about how much money this movie is about to do you really think Disney is going to give a damn what Blake Lively thinks? You're going to be like, I'm sorry, we own your husband now. We kind of need to. Like, they will do whatever it takes to make her happy.
I don't think Disney owns him anymore, dude. I think he's the one guy that they don't own. I think that part of the deal, he's a producer on this thing. He's a writer on this thing. I think he's got a lot more power than a lot of stars who sign up to deals.
I don't mean that in the sense that he's in a contract that he can't get out of. I mean that this is going to make so much money. Whatever they have to do to court Tom Brady to get them another ring, they're going to do it. They're like, we'll make sure Giselle doesn't divorce you, but we need you to like whatever.
I don't know if that's your example. Giselle divorced him.
It's literally what he just said. He was like, she'll divorce me. And I'm like, yeah, this feels like if you do this too many times. But
Coy, she didn't divorce him in the middle of a championship run.
Okay, that's fair. I was like, they are divorced.
True. Yeah. That's also true. But I think it'd be a situation where they would just have a serious conversation. Okay, this is all we will ask of you, one way or the other. So then, if it happens, if I had to guess, if they were going to do another Deadpool movie, since there were already rumors with Sean Levy and him talking about potentially directing a Deadpool Spidey movie, because they do team up a lot in the comics. I could see where you put more of the onus on Tom, and then Deadpool comes in. You know what I mean? And so then it's Spider-Man and Deadpool instead of Deadpool and Wolverine. So then Spider-Man is the focus, and then you can put as much Ryan as Blake will allow, and then go that way. I can see that happening.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd want to see that, only because I think that with Wolverine coming in with Hugh Jackman the way that it was because of their relationship, I'm okay with one movie inside of the Deadpool universe, one character where it's like, because I didn't love the She-Hulk thing with that stupid Kevin bot at the end. I hated it. Some people liked it. I hated it. And I thought it was so, like, I'm not watching a show anymore. I mean, I'm not invested anymore. It's like, they're clearly showing me this is a show. And I understand that's what She-Hulk did in the comics. And I understand that that's what Deadpool does here. And in the movies, for some reason, it really works for me. But to continue to do it on every single thing where, every character is starting to break the wall and do all that, I think that it's enough for me here. I would like to see Deadpool show up in other movies. I'd like to see him be in some of these things going forward with the multiverse, or how it's going to pan out to end these phases, and then maybe he kind of exits his way out. But like, I like all three Deadpool movies. I would be okay if this is the last one. I don't disagree with you that this is something that, a lot of people do. Well, we just made so much money on this thing, we got to get another one. I hope that Ryan Reynolds goes, nah, you know what? I'm paying me to be in a couple more movies, but I don't think we need to do another one, because I think 3 is enough. You end out strong here on this movie, and that's it. Because Deadpool kind of has his reasoning of what he wants to do, and I think his storyline kind of ties up pretty nicely in this one.
Yeah, I guess the only thing I was going to say, and that's why I was thinking it would be Spider-Man and Deadpool. I would see this being a Spider-Man film that, in the same way that this is not a Wolverine film, it's a Deadpool film. It's just Wolverine has a very, very major part. Like if Deadpool obviously is the A story, Wolverine's the B. It would be the same thing.
Like Civil
I feel
War,
like if they do a
Tony
pair-
Stark and Captain America. It was Civil War. It was a
Exactly.
Captain America movie, but it was as much of a Tony Stark movie too.
Exactly. That's what I see this being if you're gonna get Ryan to do another full film as Deadpool. Otherwise, it is the character comes in because it's an Avengers film, a Secret Wars thing. Which he gets paid to steal vibranium, so he's in Wakanda. I don't know, but I genuinely think that the only way that would happen is he wouldn't be the lead. He would be the secondary character.
I'd want Garfield then, not Tom. Just vibe wise.
I agree with that.
Like if you're gonna do a two-hander with them two, Tom Holland's like tone doesn't quite fit as well as. Plus that Andrew Garfield making out with Ryan Reynolds video at that award show. I'm like, they got chemistry. That'll do.
You know what they do? It is a Tom Holland film, but then every time something a little more overt happens, it just cuts
to Andrew. Plus, I think Andrew Garfield was at the premiere.
Was it?
So that chemistry.
Well, there you go. All right, listen. So I want to get your thoughts on everything we talked about with the box office, how you think this movie's going to do overall. Should there be a Deadpool 4? Go ahead, put your comments in there. I had a lot of energy last night, seeing this movie, being able to get back when I did, and it's because AG1 and Magic Spoon. I had some Magic Spoon when I got home last night. It was great. I had AG1 when I went out, had the energy, came back, had some protein with my Magic Spoon. So here it is. Here is both AG1 and Magic Spoon. And I love AG1. You guys know how many times have you heard me talk about AG1 and the reason why? You're like, wow, I'm talking about AG1 for a long time. Yeah, they're great. And they've been around for so long. And I've told you forever, as a busy person, what I do is I drink AG1 in the morning, whether I'm making breakfast and making my coffee. And I feel unstoppable. I really feel good once I have that energy to be able to push forward and do what I need to do. And I cover my nutritional basis. It's awesome. So if you guys, for gut support, it's a key factor in immune system. And if you didn't know that 70% of your immune system, it lives in your gut. So in a research study, AG1 was shown to double the amount of healthy bacteria in your gut. And gut diversity is important in supporting the health of the gut. AG1 contains a wide range of vitamins, minerals, and superfood sourced ingredients. And if there's one product that I trust to support my whole body health, it's AG1. So you know that I've partnered with them, and I've been partnered with them for so long. It's easy and it's satisfying to start your journey with AG1. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3, K2, and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase at drinkag1.com/bigthing. That's drinkag1.com/bigthing. Go ahead and check it out. I also want to tell you about Magic Spoon. You guys know how much I love Magic Spoon. My daughter this morning, she's like, I want to try Magic Spoon. And I didn't tell her no because, it's an adult cereal and you can't do that. I said, it's mine. Get out of here. You have yours. As a kid, I loved eating cereal. But as an adult, I don't want all that sugar. And most cereals don't give me the protein I need. But with Magic Spoon, it is a nostalgically delicious cereal, and it tastes just like my childhood favorites, but it doesn't have that sugar. And it's got a ton of protein, which is awesome. If you guys are already Magic Spoon fans, I saw somebody in the chat today said they just wound up getting it. I got big news for you. Magic Spoon has turned their super popular cereal into high-protein treats. They're light, crispy, and taste just like the classic crunchy cereal bars. Magic Spoon's brand new treats are so delicious, and they've already become a favorite. Right before the gym, where you're going to go, like right before work, it's amazing. Every serving of Magic Spoon cereal has 13 grams of protein, 0 grams of sugar, and 4 grams of net carbs, so you can feel good about what you're eating. The most popular flavors are fruity and cocoa, and there's so many more. I like to mix the cocoa and the peanut butter. And the Magic Spoon's brand new treats, it's crispy, crunchy, airy, and they're easy way to get 11 grams of protein on the go. For the first time ever, Magic Spoon treats are available in grocery stores with delicious flavors like marshmallow and chocolatey peanut butter. Ah, love that so much. Yum. So get $5 off your next order at magicspoon.com/bigthing, or you can look for Magic Spoon in your nearest grocery store. That's magicspoon.com/bigthing. $5 off. Magic Spoon. Hold on to the dream. All right, thank you to our friends over at AG1 and Magic Spoon. Very excited to have them both on the show as we... What?
But look at the timing on that, bro. I was sipping my tea just to wet my whistle. I had my AG1 ready, so this is
Oh, look at
actually
that.
hilarious.
Oh, wow.
My AG1 is wrong comic franchise right now,
We can
but
talk
it's
about that.
all good.
Yeah, we can talk about that. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. Look, your elbow is sticking in there. Perfect.
Here, I'll do it on
Do
this.
it again. Yeah. So there you go. That's both AG1 and Magic Spoon. You can get the link in the description. Before we move on, I do want to get to some DC stuff because we have the Joker trailer that dropped and some other things. But before we do, the other thing I wanted to bring up is this. All right. Kevin Feige reveals what he would change about the MCU if he could time travel and updates on Blade status. He says, I've been proud of almost every project that we've made and every decision that we've made, said Marvel Studios' Kevin Feige when asked about what he'd change about the MCU. With time travel and changing the past serving as a central element of the upcoming Deadpool and Wolverine film, what would Kevin Feige change if he could change the past? In an interview with Blavity TV, it's revealed that Deadpool is struggling with whether he can rewrite the past by changing one moment, and the interviewer puts the same question to Feige. If you could change the past, what would you alter? Feige took some time to think about it, and it seems like he was hesitating to answer, but then he said, in little ways, there's lots of things. He said, you can't finish a project and then look at it again and not see lots of little things that you would have done differently. In the big picture, we've been very lucky. I've been very proud of almost every project we've made and every decision we've made. I think we've not been shy by saying post-Endgame with Disney Plus, there were so many new things we brought to the platform in our enthusiasm to bring new characters to life. Feige then slightly pauses and changes his line of thought as he realizes his comment may be skewing too heavily towards the negative side and says, I think everything had its value, but now that we're looking at how to maintain the excitement and the enthusiasm for a handful of projects a year. Clearly, Feige thinks that Marvel Studios produced too much too soon when it came to the launch of Disney Plus, but that begs the interesting question, if Marvel actually had a do-over, what Disney Plus shows wouldn't have been made? The conversation then closes out with the talks of Wesley Snipes' Blade and whether he could appear in the upcoming MCU movie, as the interviewer is a big fan of Snipes' movies. Feige took time to share where things stand on Blade's production, but also shut down any hopes of Snipes returning. We're still committed to the movie, and we're so committed that we're not going to make it until it's right, which has been frustrating for us and for some fans because it's taken a while. But we have a new writer working on it now. I've read half of his new draft, and it's feeling good so far. Wesley's great. Wesley's the greatest. Mahershala is the one who came in 5 years ago, and said, I want to play Blade, and it's what this movie's about. In Marvel's Deadpool and Wolverine, Sean Levy directs Hugh Jackman's Wolverine and Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool in an MCU film that is described as epic time-traveling road trip buddy film, which will change the MCU. What stands out to me is what we've heard many times over is that, I think that I talked about it in this show. I'm not sure if I did. I know I brought it up this week. I had heard that basically Marvel knows that they maybe took a couple of swings in a couple different directions, which it was certain things they were trying to do, whether it was whatever it might be, message-wise, whether it was trying to do too much, too soon, a lot of different things. And they said, we want to go back to where it's let's put everything in focus and let's do it right like we used to. And from what it looks like with Daredevil, this movie, other things, it looks like they're trying to right the ship again. And these comments from Kevin Feige seem to also say, yeah, we had a couple meetings, realized we ain't doing it right. And if you see this movie, they clearly feel that way because they wouldn't let half the crap that Deadpool says about them in this movie go if they didn't realize, yeah, a lot of this is pretty true. All right, Winston, so you hear these thoughts from Feige. What do you think?
That actually makes me feel good because I'll be honest with you. I think the thing that most of us are really frustrated with the world right now is the idea of I saw something with my own eyes. I heard something with my own ears. I know it's not AI, and yet you're gaslighting me that there's a problem. And I think we've all come to terms and agree that there were genuine issues with a lot of the installments out of the MCU for the last few years. There's some that have knocked it out of the park. Guardians 3, No Way Home. You had other ones that were okay, but you kind of got mixed bags. So like Multiverse of Madness, I didn't love that, but there are plenty of people that did. We loved Eternals. There's plenty of people that didn't. But then you had ones that like people universally were like, what just happened? And so I think to acknowledge we haven't been on top of our A game. So we took a step back. We took a timeout. We drew up a new game plan, and now we're running this completely different, offense now. I think that that's exactly what we need. And that's how you build confidence back, when you not only admit that you were wrong, but then you start to show me how you're doing better. I think that that takes such a level of maturity and feeling secure about yourself to be able to do that. And again, that is how you build back trust, and that's how you build back confidence. You don't lie to my face when I can see it. You acknowledge it and then make a promise and actually do better.
Coy?
Yeah, I stand by. There is more good than bad, but bad is always going to get more press because people enjoy celebrating things not working out. So I do like that they're acknowledging certain missteps and doing it tactfully, like Kevin Feige is very good at. He's very good at interviews. But I do think they're also in a really tricky, or they were in a really tricky no-win scenario with these giant announcements that I hope they don't do again at Comic-Con. I hope Comic-Con is largely the next 2 or 3 years, and there's plenty they could announce that would be huge. Like, if there's a giant announcement in the next 2-3 years, go for it. But I don't think they should announce anything that doesn't have a writer, director, and pre-production pretty far into it, because if you have the Blade situation, for example, you either have the group of people that are like, just put it out. And then there's the other group of people that are like, Marvel just puts anything out and just assumes people will see it because the Marvel Studios brand. So you kind of can't win if it's not excellent. So I think they should not announce stuff unless it's as far along as it needs to be.
Can I ask y'all a quick question? So next year we get Brave New World, Thunderbolts, and Fantastic Four?
Yes.
And potentially
and it was
Blade.
originally Blade as a fourth.
And then what do you say, Kristian?
Blade potentially in November.
So the only thing, and it's weird about making any more Blade announcements, the only things that we should really be getting out of them at Comic-Con is give me, some information maybe about Captain America. Give me some information maybe about Thunderbolts. If you have something, like if you want to bring the cast out for Fantastic Four, because I know we said they start shooting in
Monday.
Like the next.
I think that's almost guaranteed because they shoot Monday.
You can do that, and then if there is true that you finally have Blade, the only announcement you should be giving outside of those three, to be honest with you, is, hey, we did get Jordan Peele.
Yeah.
Or
now out on the stage, Jordan Peele and Mahershala Ali.
Otherwise, don't sniff a Secret Wars. Don't tell me a Kang if you recast. Don't give me a Robert Downey Jr. Nothing. Just focus on these three and give me a little teaser of the last major thing that isn't geared and ready to go.
I think 80% that, 20% they know they need to break the internet, get morale back. So I do think that's where the focus should be. And then whatever is the firmest of 2026, give us a 2025 heavy slate, remind people how much things are good, celebrate your giant box office that you're in the middle of. Their Saturday panel is right when those box office numbers are going to be firmed up. Celebrate that. And then maybe a little tiny taste of 2026, but do not touch 2027.
They're in a different place. When they were doing all the look what's coming next and all that, they were in a place where everybody was just wait. What do we got? What do you guys got coming next? Because everything is working. Everything's amazing. So yeah, everything is amazing. So guess what we have? We have this set up. Now it's like, look at what we have right now and the stuff we already have. That's the stuff we're going to focus on, because they're going to do more than just information on Captain America. They're going to show more footage. They're going to show, they'll probably show exclusive footage because they've already released the trailer. So it'll probably be the opportunity to actually give Hall H some exclusive stuff. Maybe another trailer. I don't know. I think it was probably too close to it. Thunderbolts will probably have some kind of trailer that's put out for it. There's been enough shot. Now, whether or not that's going to be something that's shown to the public, but the audience will definitely get it in Hall H. Fantastic Four clearly won't have any footage because they won't start shooting yet, but bringing the cast out would make a ton of sense, and Deadpool and Wolverine will probably have a big thing that they're going to do because it's opening weekend, and they're probably just going to, it would make sense for them to do something, or have Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman there. I mean, you get more people. Everyone in that damn place is going to see that movie anyway, but why not make some kind of viral event out of it and get to Comic-Con? To see them show up in the costumes would be amazing. Probably won't happen, but if it did, it'd be pretty amazing. I think that then you focus on, you show some Daredevil stuff, or you tell about Daredevil, or is it just going to be movie stuff, Corey? Is that all they're doing for Hall H?
I'm hearing that it's going to be movie-centric, D23 TV-centric,
Okay.
But that's just hearing from people that like to make stuff up for clicks, so I think that would make sense. Disney Plus feels very D23, and I think that'd be a good way to keep things clean.
Sure, I agree.
I think Agatha coming out beforehand surprised a lot of people.
Yeah.
I would have assumed they'd held that for D23 because unlike the Cap trailer, which clearly they wanted to attach to Deadpool, I didn't see any reason to release Agatha, but I do think it's going to be D23, Wonder Man, Agatha, and Daredevil.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is the pushback that I would have on that is like, yeah, you release a trailer to get the interest going, and for people who go to the D23 thing, you get scenes. You get some scenes from the show. You get cast members talking about it. You don't have to just because that's what I would. Well, that's what I would do. I would say, listen, if we're gonna worry about somebody leaking stuff and they're gonna leak the freaking trailer, let's put the trailer out first. Put the trailer first. We'll get some people talking about this thing. Show them what the tone is of it, and then we'll put some scenes out. Our best goal is the D23 stuff doesn't get leaked very often. They lock it down in there, and if they can just show scenes and not trailers, but I think that showing movies is probably the smarter play in Hall H for Comic-Con because the trailers and build up those projects. Build up. Now, the question will be, what kind of information will they have on Blade? Now, are they going to announce a Jordan Peele for director? Will they announce a big director? Or are they going to be, if they don't confidently have...
Don't talk
about it. Just leave it alone. And we also are working on Blade. Moving on. It's like that's what they should do. If they don't know, you don't talk about it. I think we'll get
that big, image of the schedule, and I think Blade will be on it. And if there is no director, it'll be on it. If there is a director, they'll come out. And I think Blade will be mentioned either via graphic,
right,
or if there's something firm, he'll come out. And I think that's also how they might handle Avengers 5.
Well, the Russos are going to be announced. The Russos are going to be announced, right? They're going to.
I assume.
Yeah, they'll bring the Russos out.
What will be announced?
The Russos.
They'll probably be announced. I think you're right though. If I mean, you said it's talking heads, so maybe we're talking heads, but people that are baiting for clicks. I could also see because you showed Agatha, if you're like, oh, and here's one more thing, instead of pushing movies extra hard that maybe you're not ready to, then maybe you get a Daredevil trailer because Born Again is supposed to be out next year, isn't it?
Yeah, but I don't think. So I think Coy's right. I don't think they're going to show TV at Hall H.
You think they're just going to save it for 23?
Because especially right now, they're so the optics around it is we're doing less, we're focusing on this, we're doing less, and I think if you go into the TV, then it's like wait, that's a lot. You guys are doing a lot. I just think optically, Disney Plus D23. It feels structured.
I agree. I mean that makes. I was saying if you're trying to find some other thing,
then Daredevil for sure.
Then you could do that, but it would make sense to save Agatha, Daredevil
for D23. Yeah, it is, and
Wonder Man. I think will get a big push at D23.
It also doesn't make your audience feel. It doesn't make your audience for one of the other ones feel cheated. It's like, okay, they got film, we got TV, and that's another way to do it. Joker, Folly of Dupe. The new trailer dropped the other day, and man, oh man. I am super, super hyped for this film. Now, this is the type of movie that I can see, though, myself, because I like this dark shit. I just do. I like this stuff, and I loved what they did in that first movie. And I could see myself at the end of the year, when we're putting out our lists, I can see this ranking over Deadpool. It's two very different movies. But this is the type of thing that I get. I'm turning in my old age. I'm turning into more of like I guess the film snob, if you will, or I shouldn't say film snob. That's not fair. More of like a story character snob. Like that's the type of stuff. Like, and I think Coy, you'll probably agree with me here. I'm taking Game of Thrones, House of Dragon all day over The Acolyte, right? Because it's more about just
easy pick,
right? Cotton candy over like steak. And
that's not a good comparison. If you're gonna do that, then you should have gone House of the Dragon versus The Boys, because then that looks more like Deadpool and Joker.
No, because The Boys is still very detailed in writing, and I'm not talking about Deadpool not having good writing. I'm just saying in general when it comes to certain things of what I find myself enjoying more. I enjoy really detailed stuff, and I like the spectacle of Deadpool. I like the spectacle of and for the heart that worked, it worked. But this movie is going to be, it looks like, an intense, deep film. Within the psyche of this freaking lunatic, and I think Lady Gaga is going to steal the show. And she doesn't really have much to do in the trailer, but there's just when she does, it looked like Natural Born Killers to me, this one. All right, Coy, so what say you?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I think the first one is definitely like Scorsese and King of Comedy and like certain elements, and this absolutely still mirrors that. It's clearly still the same world, but I definitely did get some Natural Born Killers. I definitely got that that really interesting crime texture you got from that era of filmmaking where everything felt so. There's like this docu-series slice of life, like you're on a ride along with them sense. Like I really is grounded, and you feel like you're on the journey with the psychopath. So you are like, wait, why am I identifying with this? And I think Natural Born Killers does that very well. And I think the first Joker does that very well. But there's definitely a sense of like, come with me on this journey of madness that I'm really excited for. And I think that's why the musical elements are going to work, because you're going to be in that space. Like you're going to be with them in the madness. So I personally think, not only is it a sequel, so we're inherently more aware. Like we know these characters a little more. You don't have to retell that story. So I think it definitely takes some fun lefts in the trailer.
Yeah, and I think that I can totally see at the end of this. I remember when we first discussed it, we all were saying Deadpool over Joker, but now that we're on the other side of one of them and still kind of figuring out what the other one is, I can totally understand if Joker ends up surpassing Deadpool as far as overall film. Now, as far as the money it makes, I would say Deadpool has a higher ceiling in my opinion, but that doesn't mean I think that Joker could also clear $1 billion.
I think Joker's going to clear $1 billion, but I think just the nature, and this is where Kristian and I are different points in life, but I also think like I'm in a point of I still enjoy my Fincher, my Mindhunter, my trauma, my darkness, but like I'm currently like I'd like to escape for a bit, and I think Deadpool and Wolverine I'll be rewatching more. So just from my experience, what I got out of Deadpool Wolverine was such joy and such escape from the world that is as dark as Joker that like for me, like Kristian feels like that's where he wants to live, and that makes sense. Like it's a different spot. But I'm in the like, please
I agree
let me
with you.
out.
I agree with you where you're saying that in rewatchability and what's going to make you feel better, it's Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm just talking about like an overall, like if you look at it, I'm talking about when I'm thinking about my top 10 list of what I think more realistically, if it delivers in the way that I think it could, then Joker will probably be the one that if I look, what's the better film? I would say that Joker 2 probably has a shot at being the better film. Now, what has better rewatchability overall? I don't think there's any doubt that it's going to be Deadpool Wolverine.
There was so much, without spoilers, there's so much that really gave me a sense of pure, I never thought this would happen in my life in Deadpool and Wolverine, that it's going to be hard to top. And that's unique to me because I've been reading these comics since I was 2, and I've been loving these movies. We've all loved these movies for 24 years. But in the year 2000, when X-Men came out, it was such a mind-blowing, how does this exist? They made the comic movie? And then I haven't felt like that as consistently because, we have a lot of comic movies out now. There's like 2 or 3 a year. I felt that feeling again. And I didn't think I had that button left. I thought I'd broken it. I thought I pressed it enough that, it was kind of gone. And this movie, Deadpool and Wolverine, gave me that you guys, did you? And that's going to be hard to top for me.
Yeah, I totally understand that. I'm very much looking forward to the second Joker film, but it definitely feels like the difference between watching Everything Everywhere All at Once and King Richard, where one I'm like that acting. It doesn't mean that the acting performance in Everything Everywhere weren't fantastic. Obviously they were. It won multiple Oscars for it, but one had such that chaotic, silly energy in that kind of way that I get out of Deadpool that. When I go in to watch Joker, I'm strictly in here to see what, Phoenix and Gaga are going to do on like an acting scale. Doesn't mean that the story's not going to be interesting. Doesn't mean that I'm not going to be into it. But I'm here more so to be like, hey, they acting they asshole. Like,
look at them go.
Yeah. And look, the other side of it is doesn't necessarily, these things don't have to be compared, but that's just what we do overall. And I think that people will do that when it comes out. But I think that this
inevitably, especially with so few this year, sorry to interrupt, but like with less, at the end of the year, a lot of years it's been like, okay, between these 19 comic properties, then it's like ranking, lemons and oranges and apples in one bushel. But this year with so few fruits, it's definitely a different situation where it's going to be Deadpool and Wolverine as 2 R-rated sequels that are less comic movies this year. And Winston's still on my citrus. He's
lemons and apples,
oranges. There's so many things in a bushel.
Just haven't had a pomegranate in so long.
I'm lacking vitamin C. I got scurvy with the comic films.
Yeah, but overall, I thought the trailer really, really worked. I thought it did. I thought it had a good feel. And when you look at it, this movie, Inside Out, this movie, Deadpool. I don't think Despicable Me is going to hit billion. Everybody thought that it potentially would. I don't think it's going to hit a billion. I think it'll get close, but I
Did it
think
already come out?
yeah, it's already like
That's
600. I think it's like 600 million or something so far.
Do you think Twisters will make it?
No chance.
I don't think. I mean, I think a billion is a lot harder than people realize because it was just a fluke couple of years where it was like everything's a billion. But I think a billion is pretty crazy because up until those couple of years, it never happened. Also, movie ticket like prices, obviously inflation and shit. But I do think that it's harder than people realize. It's just we are on the internet, so we're only talking about the ones that tend to hit it.
Yeah, and it also has to be a phenomenon movie. Like let's be really honest about this, with the exception of like Jurassic World, because
Dinosaurs,
Top Gun, an absolute like phenomenon. Barbie, a phenomenon. Oppenheimer, I'm going to count it for a billion because it was just under that marker. Phenomenon. Like nothing has hit a billion since we came out of the pandemic. If it didn't have
change society,
with the exception of Jurassic World,
yeah,
it had to be something that was so anticipated or so ridiculous.
Mario
Brothers movie,
yeah.
Avatar, like you have to be in that realm to do it.
Yeah, I mean it's
you didn't know it came out, so I don't think it's making it.
Well, but look, I mean, yeah, and it depends on how much you're like. You look at a movie like Inside Out, which I think is 120 when you make for budget wise, and when you make $1 billion it's a massive hit. When you look at Super Mario, probably if not cheaper to make that movie. Barbie in that same range. These movies that are costing less to make are making $1 billion. I mean, shoot, even Oppenheimer came close to it, right? So when you have, and this movie still I think is more expensive than the original Joker, but it's still going to be. It's not in that range. I don't think. Maybe it is. Maybe it was really expensive. I'm not sure how much this one was. But no, it's not as but then you go to something like Fast and Furious, the last one, which costs like ridiculous, like almost $400 million to make, and they're like, we made $800 million and lost money. So it's like so stupid.
I think that's shifting in a big way.
Yeah, it is.
I think we're looking at how quiet the town is. We're looking at how many people are at work. I think that is one of the things we're gonna see a contraction. Like we've already seen a contraction in our side, but I think the movie budgets are gonna follow suit in an interesting way. I just don't know how much it can because of people wanting more now.
Yeah, I'm gonna make my one anime reference for the show today. I think that the studios are starting to realize there is more value at times to have a bunch, like you said, a bunch of smaller ones coming together as a whole to give you a great outcome, like you would see in, say, a Naruto. It's the whole village and Naruto coming together versus one superpowered dude by himself. There is more to be gained from if you Disney puts out 5 movies, if they all clear 800 on 150 budgets versus they put out 2 movies that they spent 300 and they barely clear $1 billion to get, you know what I mean? Like, I just think that's a smarter play.
All right, look, so here's the bottom line, guys. We are going to be recording because Coy's going to Comic-Con this weekend, and we're recording earlier because we want to make sure that we get to our Deadpool spoiler episode, which is going to air on Monday morning. So we're going to cut this off a little short here today, but there's other stories, obviously, that we wanted to get to, we couldn't get to today, that we'll cover for next week. And I'm sure there's going to be a ton of stuff that comes out after Comic-Con. So we'll have a big episode kind of recapping everything going down. But I'd like to thank both Winston and Coy. We'll start with Winston here. Winston, where can they find you?
You can find me at The Swaggy Blurred on all platforms, but especially here on YouTube. At this point, I think most of my Marvel Fox Universe stuff should be out, but definitely my non-spoiler review for Deadpool and Wolverine is out. My spoiler review will be out around the same time as our spoiler discussion. So if you want to know more of my individual thoughts, so I'm not just taking over the conversation with all that I feel and stuff like that. And then check me out on all the other social platforms too.
You can hunt me down at Coy Jandro everywhere, but also especially YouTube. Just cleared 27K, trying to get to 30. I'm fighting my way towards 30. Thank you, sir. My non-spoiler is out now, and my spoiler is going to be out this weekend. And I did a whole ton of stuff leading up, like comics to read Wolverine, comics to read Deadpool, movies to watch Ryan Reynolds, like all sorts of stuff. So check out my YouTube page for a little bit more in-depth versus conversational, because, again, we don't want to talk over each other. So if you want individual thoughts, check us out at our individual pages.
All right. Thank you guys for joining us here today. I want to thank both Winston and Coy for being here. Have a wonderful Friday. I mean, hell, right now, Comic-Con is going on. Comic-Con is happening right now as this airs. So this is, there's probably tons of news out there already. We've probably all done videos about some of the stuff that already has played. At this point, I think the Marvel panel is tomorrow. So they've got the Marvel panel plus a huge weekend of Deadpool and Wolverine. So Put your comments in there. Let me know what you think overall about everything that we've talked about today. We'll see you guys on Monday for the spoiler review. I'll have my full spoiler review up, so make sure you check that out. I'll also be doing some more of the, if there's reactions to be had, I'll be doing that, be paying attention to it. So thanks for joining us. As always, you guys are the best, and we'll see you later.